So basically, we learned about in the last class, like day before yesterday, we have learned about table valid function, where I have created a table valid function, and that particular table valid function is returning tables. In the last class, we have learned about scalar valued function. What is a scalar valued function? So basically, there is a difference between table valued and scalar valued function, and both are a user defined function. It like in a result set it returns a table, whereas this particular scalar value function returns a single record. So I have created a sample scalar value function where I am taking two argument or two parameters and returning the return type of this particular scalar valued function is int. Okay, and I'm starting like as begin, and between this begin and end I will be writing all my codes which I'm going to do in this particular scalar valued function. This is the way of calling a scalar valued function. We have to write select and the function name, uh, so, and so instead of using create, if we use the alter, we could alter this particular scalar valued function. So initially I have created the scalar valued function with two arguments, but in this particular scalar valued function I have created with three arguments and also returned that. Okay, using sp help test you can check the definition of this particular scalar valued function. Basically, okay, you can check the definition of this particular scalar valued function, let what codes are being written here. Okay, so you can check that. Along with that, I have written a we have written a scalar valued function just to determine whether a particular we are taking two argument. One is sp, that is selling price, and the cost price, and using that we are checking whether if that selling price greater than cp, it gives profit, loss, or no profit, no loss. So this is how. The other thing I just want to highlight is that calling a particular scalar valued function and calling a particular table value function is little different, because here you can see that I am for a scalar value function, as it is giving a single value, we are using directly into this particular select clause. Select clause के साथ directly we are using it. Okay, whereas for a table value function we are using this particular table valued function as a table itself. So we are writing a select star from and this particular table valued function, this act as a table itself. Okay, so this is what we learned about scalar value function. After that, we have learned about the two type of temporary tables. Okay, that this particular temporary table is being classified into two types. That is a local temporary table and a global temporary table. Okay, so this is CT table is not a temporary table. Just for your concern, we learned about CT table yesterday, but I will definitely let you know. Okay, so creating a local temporary table, LTT local temporary table, is like if we use the single hashtag and give the table name, that means that is a local temporary table, and I am trying to insert the value from one one table to another table. Basically, what I'm done, I have created this particular local temporary table and I have inserted some records here. Then I have tried to, let's suppose this is my session, this is my one of the session, and this is my another session. Like here you could see 59 and this is 58. So in 59, if I try to create this, and I'm inserting some records here, and then if I try to access this particular local temporary table within the session, it is giving us value, but okay, it is giving us value, but if I try to use this particular local temporary table outside the session, it will not provide us any value. It shows that it is an invalid local temporary table. At what it means is it is not accessed outside the session, it can be accessed within the session. Okay, now after the local temporary table, I have thought about how I can alter a local temporary table. So it is same as altering a table, and how I can drop a table. Then we have learned about creating a global temporary table, that is double hashtag. Using the double hashtag, we can create a global temporary table. I have tried to insert some records into this particular global temporary table, and what I did, I then if I try to select, let's suppose I'm creating this global temporary table as student ID number 1. Okay, I'm just creating it and putting some records here. Okay, I'm putting some records here. If I try to execute it and check, do we have some records here? So it says yes, we have some records, but we can also access this particular global temporary table outside the session. So you could see that for the local temporary table, when I try to access it outside of the session, it is not being accessed. But here we are able to access this particular global temporary table outside the session as well. Okay, so it is the same way we have altering a table. We can alter a global and a local temporary table. So that is what we have learned in the last class. Uh, the other part we have learned about uh, is about CT tables. What are CT tables? CT tables are basically stands for common table expression, and it is a construct. Basically, you can't call it as a table. It is a construct, means it stores the value within the runtime only. Like if I try to execute it, you could see that I'm creating a CT table with keyword, with this particular keyword. Okay, I'm trying to create this particular CT table, and then I have inserted some of the records here in this particular table, and I'm trying to access this particular CT table during the runtime only. Okay, just a minute please. So let's so here you can see so this particular CT table, we can only access this particular CT session table within the runtime itself. मतलब runtime में, let's suppose I have created a CT table, and if I try to execute this CT table separately, it will not give us any record. But अगर मैं इस particular CT table को, उसका creation और उसका calling सेम टाइम पे ही कॉल करूँ, तभी एक CT टेबल को अपन एक्सेस कर सकते हैं. अब इसका बेनिफिट क्या है? द बेनिफिट ऑफ यूजिंग CT टेबल, लाइक in many of the views, in many of the report, where we don't want to store any of the data, we just want to show the data. Let's suppose we have different views. Okay, so there is an object called views where we don't actually store data. There is a bunch of code which is written inside that view. Whenever we hit that particular view, it returns some of the data. Okay, so that in that particular view we are not storing any of the data. For that condition, we will be using this particular CT table. After Okay, after that, we have we talked about case statement, like where we can use case statement. So the syntax of case statement will be start from case, and the end case and the end, and then the in the between it we can write is like when, and we put the condition, then and the result. So this is how we could write a case statement. We also talked about if else. Today we will be talking about stored procedures. So I'm just closing these windows. If just go through these, just go through these scripts which I have already sent you guys in the chat. Okay. If you face any doubt here, please let me know. So today we will talk about stored procedures. What are the okay? Yes. So today we will talk about stored procedure. Why we are using this particular stored procedure? We will talk that, and what are the benefits of using this particular stored procedure? We will talk about this particular thing. Okay. So okay. So let's talk about stored procedure. So this particular how to create a SP. Okay, stored procedure. Basically, whenever I will call SP, just have a note that how. Okay, so for creating a stored procedure, we can create it by create, and the keyword we will be using for creating a stored procedure is create procedure. Let's take a, we have to give a procedure name here. Okay, SP name. We have to give a SP name, and inside this particular, okay, in this particular parenthesis we will be defining our parameters. Okay, so I'm just letting you know about the structure of this. Okay, so how we can create a SP and how. Okay, so we will give the parameters and as begin and end. Okay, so in this particular between this begin and end, I will be writing my code related to. So there is a most of you have confusion that this looks similar to function. Okay, why we are using stored procedure things. Okay, if you see this function structure also, function structure is same only. Okay, it looks similar to function, but the functionality and the usability of both the stored procedure and function is completely different. Okay, so uh, we will also talk about SP versus stored procedures. And guys, I will be open for questions anytime. If you think that you want to ask anything, please go through that and please ask me. Okay, so let's create an SP. Okay, just let's create an SP to fetch records using the first name and last name. Basically what I'm doing, I'm creating SP where I'm taking first and last name of a student. So I'm creating SP. So for creating SP we can write create procedure and let's take. So there is a naming convention for procedure where whenever we are creating any procedure, you have to write it SP and you can give the name of the SP. Let's suppose my name of the SP will be, it's a select SP by. Okay, so student name by student name, it's a select student name SP. So basically wherever we are selecting something we write it as cell, and if we are updating something, let's suppose I'm just writing here. Okay, cell means if we are selecting, this is the common naming convention which we like I as a developer use and many of the developers use. So by seeing this particular recipe you got to know what actually we are doing in this particular recipe. Selecting something, selecting the records. For select, if you are creating any records, for selecting the records we will be using cell. If we are creating record for inserting something, inserting some records, then we will be write ins, and then upd is for updating. Okay, updating some records. So be aware of these naming convention guys, so that will be helpful for you also. So now I'm defining two different, because if I am fetching records using the first name and the last name, I want two different variables. Okay, so I'm just writing it as f name as. Okay, and the data type of this particular f name will be, guys, it is not necessary to give parameters in SP. So function में क्या था, for functions it is mandatory, it is not mandate to give any parameters to an SP. Okay, whereas in functions it is mandate. Okay, because function में आपको mandate देना ही पड़ेगा. Let's suppose f name, and I'm treating it as L name. Okay, the data type of this particular argument will be varchar. So this is how I have defined my parameters. I have declared my parameters, and then we will be using these parameters using our SP as begin. So I'm selecting some of the records. Just a minute, please. So let's suppose I'm selecting everything from student. Okay, student, where so what I'm doing, I need to select those values. So I need to select those values whose first name and last name will be Rahul and Kumar. Let's say I'm trying to do that. Okay, so what I'm doing, first name, these are very basic SPs. We will be, so I will so the parameter, what I'm doing, for my first name I am assigning my parameter as first name. Okay, so मैंने क्या किया कि first name को जो value देना I will put it as f name, and for last name I am assigning my parameter to lname. Okay, that is what I am doing. So basically what happens that I'm selecting a student where the first name will be f name. So basically what I'm doing, when I call this particular, so I'm just creating this stored procedure. This stored procedure is being created, and just to execute this stored procedure we have to write exec, or you can write execute, the whole execute also, and just give the stored procedure name. So my stored procedure name is this, and you have to give two parameters. Let's suppose my parameter is Rahul, and the second parameter I'm giving it as. So if I write it, if I execute it, here you can see that using this particular student, using this particular SP, I can fetch records. Okay, let's try to create another FC where we are let's try to get those details. Let's try to create an SP whose average salary. Let's try to create an SP who gives the detail of all employees whose average salary is greater than uh, whose salary is greater than the average salary. Okay, so we have to create this particular SP. So what we will do, we will create a procedure, and I will name it as SP underscore employee avg salary cell. Okay, I'm just selecting a record, that is why I'm stating as cell. Okay, and in this particular we will not be taking any argument, because the average salary we will be finding there in the code itself. But if you still want to find some like if you want to get the records of those people whose average salary is greater. So if I try to do that for this particular SP, I don't want any parameters. Okay, that is why I'm not taking any parameters. So I can write it as begin, and I'm writing a code. Okay, I'm selecting select start from employees where salary is greater than. Okay, so we want the average salary. So what I will be doing, using this particular, I will be using a subquery, and in this subquery I will first find the average salary. Okay, so I will let me write this code, then I will explain it to you guys. So here what I'm doing, I'm using a subquery. In this particular subquery, this is the child query. Okay, and this particular child query is being called in this particular parent query. So what happens, once this is being executed, it will execute and give the average salary as this. Okay, and then it will return this particular average salary to this particular condition, and then this particular parent parent query will be called. Okay, this is how it will work. And if I create it and try to execute it, I will write at exec, and I will use the same. Okay, if I execute it, you can see that these many of person have the salary greater than the average salary. Okay, so this is how I will be using this uh, particular SP. If you want to alter an SP, you just need to let's suppose I need to alter this particular SP, and instead of fetching the records for all the department, I'm just choosing a department called FI account. So write an SP to fetch a record whose salary is greater than average salary in department or department wise. Let's suppose department, or according to department, take department as parameter. Okay, so what I will do, I will add a parameter here. For adding a parameter, I will add the parenthesis after this particular, and I will write it as at the rate, and let's suppose my job ID is equal to varchar. If I write it like this, I will just put a where condition, and where job ID is equal to at the rate. So what I have done, I have modified this particular but it is showing error stating that if I hover into this particular, it shows that it is already an object SP. So to modify this particular SP, what I will do, instead of creating, what I will do, I will do the alter. Okay, if I execute it, it is being executed, and now to run this particular query, what I need to do, I need to use this particular statement, and I have to provide a job ID here. Let's suppose I'm selecting IT program. If I give the IT program here, it will be returning those employees whose salary is greater than the average salary, and it belongs to the IT program. So this is how you will create and alter an SP. Okay. Now there is a very good functionality. There is a very good like stored procedures also allows the null parameters. What does it null parameters means? Okay, let's try to check that. So basically null parameter is that null parameter or optional parameter. Okay, so in, let's suppose I have to write a query to insert a record into student table. Okay, student table. Let's suppose I have to write an SP. So see, every time if you write that insert command again and again, that is a very inefficient method. Instead of doing, what we can do, we can create an SP, and we just provide the parameters there, and that SP will be inserting the records. Okay, if we do a loop, and we can use that particular SP in that loop. So that is how we can use an SP. Okay, so write a query to insert a record into a student table. So let's select from student. I'm just selecting this just to see some data. Okay, so I'm just writing this particular. So I am just creating another SP where SP student details, and I'm making an insert command, insert SP. That is why I'm writing it as INS. Okay, SP underscore student detail INS. Okay, so what I will be inserting, I will be inserting a first name, last name. What else? I will be inserting date of birth, date. Okay, at the rate DOB, date. Okay, and I will be inserting at the rate GPA as float. Okay, and I'm putting it as null right now. Null means if I provide something here, okay, if not, then put it a null there. Okay, and for created date also, created date also, I am putting it as null, and at the rate created by equal to null. Okay, I just need to, created date will be date time, and created by will be varchar. So we need to define the data types as well. Okay, so now we have to change this particular insert into student. So what I will do, see, this particular detail of a table I'm getting using alt F1. Okay, alt in SSMS, if you press alt F1, you will get this particular detail. So I will be inserting these details, first name, last name, and if you press alt and move it here, now you can put commas in a go. Okay, so you can do like this also, values. Anyway, if you have doubt how I have done it, please uh, F name. Okay, F name, comma, at the rate L name, comma, at the rate DOB, comma, at the rate GPA, at the rate created date. So for created date, what I am doing, okay, created date and at the rate. Hope this is clear to you, Ronali. It clear to you. So what I'm doing, I'm creating a insert SP for this particular student detail, and I have decided here 6 different parameters, where F name, last name, date of birth, GPA, And for this particular, if I'm putting it equal to null, means these are the optional parameters. Okay, if you give, the data here, okay. If not also, it will not fail. This sp will not fail, because if I'm not putting any, if I'm not giving values to these data na, what it will do, it will start failing, my sp will start failing. Okay, so I'm just trying to create this particular resp. Something is wrong, teacher id. So I don't want to give teacher ID right now. Let's, teacher ID is there. So let's give teacher ID also. And I'm keeping teacher ID as mandate. Okay. Teacher teacher ID int. Okay. And I'm keeping it mandate. I'm not putting it null. If it is not equal to null, means it is a mandate column. It is a mandate parameter. What, Ronali? So I have just created this particular SP, and you could see that command is being successfully completed. Now I'm trying to execute this particular SP. What I will do, this makes our work more easier, because let's suppose I'm putting it as Runali. Runali. Last name will be, okay. So date of birth, I'm taking date of birth as, let's take something, any date of birth from here. And for GPA, I am putting it as null. So let's provide null right now. Okay. And for teacher ID, I'm putting it as 0. And for created date, I am giving a function. This is a predefined function that is called get date. We have already discussed about get date, which will give you the current date and time, and created by. So we have discussed about s user underscore s name. So what it will do, this particular s user underscore s name will give you the current current user which is using it. No, it will execute without that also. That is what I'm trying to say. There is some issues here in get date. Okay. Okay. So let's take one alternative. So I'm declaring a value, declaring a. So I can't put get date and this particular user s name directly into the function. So what I need to do, I need to declare a variable. So I'm declaring a variable date, and keep it as date time, and equal to get. And uh, I'm declaring a variable called user, that will be varchar 50. So I will let you know why I'm doing this. Okay, now I'm just removing this, and instead of get date, I'm putting this at the rate date, and instead of s user s name, I'm putting it as user. Okay, and if I try to run the whole command, it will got executed, and it shows one row effective. Okay, the point of making this particular declare variable, like I have, because I'm not able to put a uh, I'm not able to put a function here into the parameters. Okay, so what I have to need to do, I need to use this function and put that values it somewhere into a variable, and I'm using this variable as a parameter here. Okay, this is how it is being. If I try to select start from student, if I try to execute it, you could see that the data is being executed, and the username will be Monu Singh Kumar and Murunali M. Okay. You said na Kalyani, you are executing it without execute, so it will execute it without that also. So Shravan, if I put it Shravan here, and if I put it Shravan here, and if I try to execute this one only, it will got execute. So it will got executed here also. It got executed here also. Let me check that. It's a select no? Job ID is required. So here it is not running, because before this particular execute, there are few other statement declare, and we are declaring two different variables. So after that, we need to use execute. So don't get confused. Just keep as a standard, keep using execute here. So there will be no issue. Any questions so far, guys? Yes. Anjali, your voice is breaking in between. Can you repeat it one more time? Correct. No, you're saying that using insert is more convenient. Okay, so there is a point of using this tool here. Okay, let's suppose, Anjali, if we have to insert some few records like 10 to 15 records, so every time for inserting some two three records or four records, I don't go and create a store procedure end to end. Okay, there is no point of creating such store field. Rather than, what I will do, I will simple create a insert statement, insert it, and that's it. Okay, but if we get a same type of data, or a same nature of data every time, and the amount of data is larger, so what you need to do, you need to automate a system. So what you will do, you will create a loop where you are taking the one value at a time, inserting it into the. So for such in scenarios, when you have a larger amount of data, and you don't want to write your insert command again and again, for that you can create an store procedure, insert store procedure, Anjali. So this is the mentality before behind that. Any questions so far? Shravan, any questions, please? Shravan, yes, please. Okay. So I haven't covered it, but yes. So okay, let's talk in this. I'm just about to start this particular function and store procedure. Functions versus store procedure, and this is a very important question which interviewer ask during your interviews. Okay, so basically, what happened, for functions? For function, we have to mandatorily give an input argument. Okay, so let's suppose for functions, what we need to do, we parameters are mandate. Okay, parameters are mandate. Okay, whereas mandate. Okay, wherein in SP, parameters are not mandate. Parameters are not mandate. Okay, in a store, in a function, we can't do DML activity, we can't do DML activities. Okay, basically, every time in a function we are selecting some records, we are not manipulating. If you try to write a insert, update, delete inside a function, it will not work. Okay, so we can't do DML activities inside a function. Okay, whereas in SP we can do DML activity. For a function, it is a mandate, it is mandate to return something, but for a SP it is a not mandate, it is not mandate. Let's suppose if you are updating something, does updation return something? No, of course not. Okay, it will not return anything. Okay, so it is not mandate to return anything in a SP. Similar to that, there is another question, that a function a function cannot call a SP, cannot call an SP inside it. Okay, inside it. Okay, whereas a stored procedure can call an SP inside it. Why? Because see, function अपने अंदर SP को इसलिए नहीं कॉल कर सकता है, function is not able to call the SP inside it because functions are not allowed to, we can't do, not allowed to do DML activities. And SP, the nature itself is a DML, like SP is written to do the DML or select, not every time DML, but the nature of the DML in a SQL engine's eyes is a DML activity only. Okay, so you can't call an SP inside a function, but you can call a function inside a SP. SP can call a function inside it. So this is the major difference between major difference between functions and stored procedure. So I have to talk about why we are using. Initially, I didn't talk about why we are using this particular functions and what are the benefits. Okay, what are the benefits of using these functions and stored procedures? Okay, so one and major benefit of using this function and stored procedure is that uh, the reusability. Okay, reusability of the nature of reusability. Okay, so basically every time we don't want to write, a similar piece of code everywhere in our query. Okay, similar piece of code in our query, to just to avoid that, like we know that this particular piece of code can be we can made a functions and sp out of it because we are using it again and again. So just to avoid that, what we can do, we can create functions and stored procedure. So this is one uh, benefits. The other benefit is the security. Okay, what so how you must have wondered why we how it is benefiting in security. So basically, when 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 we are directly hitting a table. Okay, if we are directly hitting or doing any DML, yeah, or manipulation, there is a chance that we might lose some data if we directly hit a database or a table, correct? So there is also a chance that if someone is able to access the full table, there is a possibility that he or she might access some confidential data. Okay, so in order to restrict that data per user, we create functions. Let's suppose if I am hitting some of the SPs, it will only give the data which is entitled to me only. ओके विच जो मुझे देखने के लिए ही एंटाइटल किया गया है, कोई और ना देख पाए. ओके, so for this purpose also we create functions and store procedure. The other part is to reduce the network traffic. Okay, I will provide the document for that also. Okay, so to reduce the network traffic means, let's suppose that every time if I try to hit something directly into a database. Okay, let's suppose if I'm for a reports for different reports. So for different reports, what I need to do, I need to go and directly hit the servers. Okay, if we are not using SP, what it will do, it will go and like our queries will directly hit different tables, and it will start fetching records from those tables, and it will create a traffic, it will create a blocking sessions. Okay, guys, please have a look about what is blocking sessions and how blocking sessions are being created in our database. How blocking sessions are created in a database. Okay, this is also a question which is being asked during the interviews. I encountered this particular question, how blocking sessions is being created and what are blocking sessions in database. Okay, so in order to avoid such situations, such blocking sessions, what we do, we fetch some records in some of the temporary table, fetch the records in a temp table, and we start manipulating that data, manipulates that data inside an SP, and then we, once that particular manipulation is being created, would simply show that data or insert, update or delete that data from that particular database or table. Okay, that is what we do. It is very the maintenance of this particular SPs are very easier, because you know that what piece of code is being written in a particular SP. Okay, so maintenance is more easier here. Okay, so that is the few benefits of using functions and stored procedures Any questions, guys, so far? Shravan, does uh, this gives you your answer? Let's. I'm not writing the whole code, but let's take an example of a calculator. Okay, let's take an example of a calculator. So, if we talk about a procedure oriented language, what we do, we write different codes. We every time take we write a bunch of code for add, then again we write a bunch of code for subtract, and then we write a bunch of code for delete, basically division, and similar to that we write a bunch of code to multiply. So it's a small example. Basically what we are what is our so instead of writing the whole code each at a time, what we can do, we can create a separate SPs for that. Okay, we will create a separate SPs for that, and this SP will be called inside a, so I am just naming it as child SP. So these all are a child SP, and let's suppose this particular SP, and this will be my parent SP. So what basically I meant is, let's suppose I'm creating a proc SP underscore calculator. Okay guys, I can write proc also, so that also works. Procedure proc you can write. Okay, and for this particular I'm taking two different arguments, that is at the rate a int, at the rate b int, and as. So what I will do, instead of writing all those bunch of codes adding, so what I can do, I can create different SPs, like execute SP underscore add, and I will give at the rate a comma at the rate. So I can do like this also. Okay, so this is a simple example of calling an SP inside an SP. So basically we have a calculator parent SP, and in this calculator parent SP we are created a different. So I'm not creating the whole code, but I'm just showing you how this particular SPs work. Okay, so instead of writing, what we can do, so where, let's suppose we there are some other application where we need to add or subtract or divide some of the two data. Okay, so instead of writing the whole code, what we can do, we can directly use this particular SP. So this is one of the example. uh, I think the next uh, after some time your doubts will be cleared how we will be using this particular SPs. So now we will talk about the dynamic queries. Okay, dynamic queries. Okay, dynamic query. I'm taking an example why how we can create a dynamic stored procedure in a SP or a query inside using SP, using an SP. So basically what I need to do, I need to write a code, write a write a SP to fetch 10 records from all tables present inside a database. Does it make sense to you guys? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? What is this particular? So I'm writing an SP, what it will do, it will fetch 10 records. Uh, this is my training database, and this is my table, and there are these number of tables. Okay, I'm writing a table to recursively move from each of the tables, and I'm trying to fetch 10 records from all the tables present in a database. Does it make sense? And we will also see the concept of dynamic queries, how I will be dynamically changes a table. Let's suppose if initially if we have to do this, what I will do, I will write top 10 star from, let's suppose, A. Okay, I will control C, control V. Okay, I will write like this B, or I will write like countries, locations, or IDs. Okay, so I will write like this, and I don't want to do this. Okay, so what I'm doing, I don't want to do this, and my output will be something like this. So there will be 5 different result set. So there will be this much of result set. Okay, so to write okay, to write such query, what I will do, I'm just creating an SP. Okay, create an SP. So here I am selecting the record, so I will write it as records from each table cell. Basically I'm selecting the records as begin. Okay, begin and end. So my first task is to traverse from this particular training database, and एंड मेरा पहला टास्क क्या होगा कि सबसे पहले मैं इस डेटाबेस में जाऊं और इस डेटाबेस में चेक करूं कि मेरे पास कितने डिफरेंट टेबल्स हैं. ओके, सो फॉर दिस व्हाट आई विल डू, I will select these data. There is a predefined table that is called information schema dot tables. Okay, so there are many different information schemas data. If you see there are like this information schema is a predefined SQL engine databases, SQL engine tables, in which we have different tables like column, routine, schema, sequences, domain, or tables, view. What does it means? Like if I'm selecting tables, it will have the data of all the table which is being created here. So here you can see that I have created this much amount of table, and thus and the database name will be training, data table catalog will be training. Okay, so I'm just selecting where table catalog equal to training. Okay, if I select it, what I will do, if I select it, I am getting everything, but I just want to know the table name itself. Okay, I just want the table name. Let's suppose table name. Okay, now to use this particular table name, what I will do, okay, let's I'm just showing you an example. Okay, example skeleton. Okay, okay, so what I will do, I will go to this particular information schema. So there are different tables. I will store the list of these tables into a temporary table, temporary TT. I will store this into a temporary table, and I will write a loop. Okay, I will write a loop, I will write a query where it is fetching records. Okay, I will write a query which is fetching records from एक table से आके it will go and fetch a record from one table, and it will give the result. वो result it will give the result. Okay, and again when the result is being given, it will again, then what will do, it will go, the query will go and fetch the data from other table. Okay, it will go फिर again go and fetch the data from other. Basically that is my logic behind this. Okay, so is it clear, guys? Let's see. Okay, so what I'm doing, I'm just creating a temporary table. Okay, create, I'm just creating a temporary table just to store the table names into that temporary table. Okay, create table. Okay, and I'm writing it as table list. Okay, and I'm writing it as ID int, and I'm keeping it as identity because identity will help us to fetch the records. Okay, identity 1 comma. We will see the importance of identity, how this particular identity will help us. Okay, table name varchar. Okay, so what I have done, I have created a table that is table list, and in this particular table list what I will do, I will load all of these table name inside that table list table. So I am writing a table, writing the query to insert the record to that particular temporary table. So insert into table list. Okay. So this is how we load data from one table to another table. So you just write insert into table, and you give the table name. Okay. So here I am mentioning the column name, that is table name. So you need to mention the column name as well. Equal to another. Okay. Now once that data is being inserted, what I will do, I will write a loop. I will create a loop, right? While identity, let's suppose what I will do, I will get the max ID of this particular table list. Okay. So clear @max ID and set max ID. Okay. So I have created this particular table list. Okay. And then if I try to insert it, you could see that the data is being loaded here. Okay. So I'm just start from to so that data is being loaded here. Okay. And I just want the max ID here. Okay. Select max ID. So if I run this particular max ID from table list, what it will do, it will give the max ID 12, and what we will do, I will use this max ID to write a logic condition. Okay. So where max ID is greater than 0. Okay. Okay. And begin and end. For this particular while loop also we are starting begin and end. Okay. So what I am doing, I am writing a select top 10. So I'm defining another variable that is called @query, that is var max. So this particular, why I have done it, so basically what I am doing, I am creating this queries. Okay, I am creating this particular dynamic query. Here you can see that this particular select top 10 star is constant. The only thing is changing is table names. Okay, so what I am doing, I am dynamically changing this table names and storing these queries inside another variable. I am writing it as query. Okay, so set @query, and I also want the table name. Okay, so select start from query. So I'm also creating other current table name. Current table name CTN. I'm just writing as CTN. Okay. Okay. So let's suppose my current, what will be my current table name. So set at the rate uh, ctn, current table name is equal to, I will write select table name from table list where id is equal to at the rate max id. Okay, so what it will do, it will, let's suppose my current max id is 12. Okay, so it will go and select the table name whose max id is 12. Then what I will do, i will I will write a dynamic query. So for writing a dynamic query, I will be using this n, and I am writing select top 10 star from. So this will be constant, and plus at the rate ctn. Okay, so what I will do, whatever table name I am getting, it will go and add it here, and once that is being added, what I will do, I will execute it. So there is a query to execute SQL task, that is sp underscore execute sql at the rate query. Okay, hope this is clear to you guys. Any problem so far, guys? Which one? This one? Uh, okay, okay. So basically, Brunali, what I am doing, I am first finding the current table. CTN means current table name. So what I am doing, let's suppose my current max ID is 12. The first loop will, what it will do? Okay, my first current max ID is 12. Then it will check. Okay, is my max ID is greater than 12? It says okay, yes. So what it will do, it will go and select that table name whose max ID is 12, and it will give that table name here. Okay, once this particular table name is set is basically we are setting the value. Once that is being set, what we will do, we will use this particular ctn table name here. Okay, so this is how we will be doing it. Help text, and something is wrong with this. Let me check the syntax. Execute SQL. Sorry, what? Query equal to, okay, and uh, n is basically क्या होता है कि दिस पर्टिकुलर n इज लाइक, आप यहाँ पे कॉमास देते हो ना, एपोस्ट्रोफियस देते हो, कॉमास देते हो. सो इफ आई रिमूव दिस n ना, ये क्या होता है, इस्केप कैरेक्टर्स, मतलब आप स्लैश दो या बहुत सारी चीजें होती है ना जो भी स्पेशल कैरेक्टर्स होती है. सो ना, व्हेन यू राइट क्वेरीज लाइक दिस, प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, वो स्पेशल कैरेक्टर्स शो नहीं होती, वो स्पेशल कैरेक्टर्स विल मिसबिहेव. हाँ, if I write like this here, you can see this special characters misbehave. So just to avoid that, there is a way of using this. So instead of this, we could use n also. Just a minute, please. Okay, we can use n also. So this is how. Now now we have to execute using, I need to execute this statement. Let's suppose I need to execute this particular query. So there is a functionality, this is a predefined sp which is given by the database, that is sp underscore execute SQL. Okay, and I'm providing this particular query, okay. So if I give it, and once this is over, once the data is being displayed, what I will do, I will lower down the max id. Okay, so I will lower down the max id. Max id is equal to max id minus 1. So I also want to end this loop also, no? Okay, so this is how, this is the sp which I have. Let's check whether this particular sp, create sp underscore in create procedure is missed here. And if I try to, let's check once, begin, I'm declaring a max id. So what, I'm just reiterating it, what I'm doing, I'm first selecting all the table names from this information schema table, which is in my training database. I am loading it into a global temporary table, and using this for loading it, I have created a global temporary table. Then what I have done, I have fetched out the max id from that particular table list, so that what I will do, I will write a loop, and that loop will traverse through their ids, वो उसके ids से travel करेगा, and it will uh, go and fetch out those tables and give it to us. So let's check, let's create this particular table. sp is being created. Let's try to execute this particular sp. What is, something is wrong. So this is how I debug my SPs. Okay, so there are some problem. Okay, it is creating, here you can see that my my uh, my my queries creation is correct. Okay, teams order ba is correct, but it is failing in some other n varchar issue. Okay, let me check that issue. I'm just again recommenting it and enabling this execute sp. Okay, so is it n? Let me check why it is failing. It says that text anchor at the statement, the procedure except parameter statement, that is type of nchar n varchar. Okay, so for query it should be n varchar max. I'm just trying to, okay, so here you can see that I am my query is able to fetch records, 10 records from each of the tables. Okay, yes or no, guys? So my query is fetching 10 records from each of the tables. That is how I have written a dynamic query. So the error which I have faced now, basically what happened, this particular sp underscore execute SQL accepts the parameter in n varchar value, n varchar data type. Okay, and I am using varchar there, that is why it is showing some error. Okay, so that is being created, and here you can see that my data is being, and see, this is so dynamic that even if I add any tables from here, I don't need to change my SP. Correct? Yes or no? I don't need to I don't need to change anything here in my SP. If we add the table itself here, my SP is capable. My SP is so dynamic that it will traverse through each and every table present there, and it will get the data from there. Okay. Yes or no? Okay. So, do you have any questions, Shravan, Charu, Anjali, Yashashvi, Murnali? Yes, please. Correct. Yes. Sys dot objects. Yes, yes. Okay. So basically, both are inbuilt only, but sys dot that system tables which we are using now, sys dot object, sys dot. So that are more about capturing everything which is running in a database engine. Okay, वो डेटाबेस इंजन में उसका एग्जीक्यूशन टाइम क्या है, वो कहाँ पे रन किया, उसका ऑब्जेक्ट आईडी कब बन किया, ले सपोज मेरा टेबल कब बना हुआ है, उसका डिटेल्स, उसका आईडी क्या है, उसका टाइप क्या है, ये सारी चीजें वो सिस डॉट ऑब्जेक्ट में रखता है. इट इज ऑल्सो इन बिल्ड टेबल इटसेल्फ, बट इट मोर ऑफ अ कीप्स डेटा रिलेटेड टू द एग्जीक्यूशन. एग्जीक्यूशन के बारे में भी रखता है, और आपका टेबल के स्कीमास, टेबल कहाँ कब क्रिएट हुआ उसके बारे में डिटेल्स रखता है. वेयर इज इंफॉर्मेशन स्कीमा इज ओनली लिमिटेड टू योर डेटाबेसेस एंड स्कीमा, दैट्स इट. ये दिस पर्टिकुलर इंफॉर्मेशन स्कीमा आपके सिर्फ डेटाबेसेस तक ही लिमिट है. ये आपका टेबल कब एग्जीक्यूट हुआ, योर टेबल व्हेन योर टेबल गॉट एग्जीक्यूटेड, और व्हेन यू हैव इंसर्टेड सम रिकॉर्ड्स इन योर टेबल, what time what time your query taken to get inserted in a table. This information, ये information schema में नहीं होता है, वो sys dot object में होता है. Sys dot. So there are different tables, guys. तो यहाँ पे आप देखोगे there are tables like all columns, all object, all parameters, SQL modules, all views. There are also which is availability groups. Basically database सर्वर्स जब हम बनाते हैं तो उसमें एक ही सर्वर नहीं होता, देयर आर डिफरेंट सर्वर्स. ओके, कौन से कितने लिसनर्स हैं, चेक कंस्टेंट्स क्या क्या हैं. सो ये उसका डिटेल तो रखता है. हियर यू कैन सी देयर वी हैव डेटा अबाउट लाइक जस्ट अ मिनट, आई विल शो यू. हाँ, क्वेरी स्टोर ऑप्शंस, क्वेरी स्टोर इंटरनल स्टेट्स के क्वेरी इंटरनली रन करने में कितना टाइम लिया. ओके, सो if I run this, and here you can see include actual execution plan. I'm just enabling it. Okay, here you can see that is being enabled, and I'm executing it. Once this particular query is being executed, the execution plan, this execution plan details is also being stored into this particular sys dot objects. ये sys tables में ना store होता है. ये information schema will not store these. This particular information schema only holds data about your schema. आपने स्कीमा बनाया है कितना, उस स्कीमा के अंदर कितने टेबल्स हैं, उस टेबल के अंदर कितने कॉलम्स हैं, आपने चेक कंस्टेंट कितना लगाया, आपने डिफॉल्ट क्या क्या रखा. So these details are being captured here in information schema. Hope that makes sense to you, Murunali. Guys, this I never talked about this particular execution plan, but I really want you guys to check on this execution plan. We will thoroughly talk about this execution plan, how we are using this execution plan to optimize, basically optimize our queries. Okay, so we will definitely talk about this. Let me check the syllabus once more time. So this is all about we are talked about. Uh, we talked about dynamic queries. We talked about queries optional. I will also make a, note. I will also make a document for this particular queries and dynamic query. Put everything there and share it to you guys. Let's come to next topic we have. So we have a other topic called that is a that is an important topic, that is pagination. Pagination in SQL. And why do we need pagination? Pagination means accessing the data in chunks. In chunks. Okay. Accessing the data in chunks. So basically pagination क्या है या उसका काम क्या है? Just a minute please. Okay. So पेजिनेशन में बेसिकली अपना काम क्या होता है? पेजिनेशन इज अ टेक्निक बेसिकली. ओके, इट इज अ टेक्निक ऑफ एक्सेसिंग सम डेटा इन चंक्स. बेसिकली क्या करते हैं, देखो, अगर if we have a production database, and in a production database we have a humorous amount of data. Okay, we have trillions or billions of data. Okay, and your SQL engine is only capable, let's suppose if you are using a SQL engine, it has some limitation. Let's suppose your SQL engine is of 10 GB, so it has some limitations of accessing data of only 5 GB at a time, let's suppose. So for that, and if we have some millions and trillions of record and you are accessing that record one time at a go, what you will face? You will face high CPU utilization. High CPU utilization. And once that CPU utilization will be high, all the queries go into the suspended state. Suspended state. Suspended state का मतलब क्या है? There are few states of queries. एक क्वेरी या तो रनिंग स्टेट में रहता है या सस्पेंडेड स्टेट में रहता है या ब्लॉक्ड स्टेट में रहता है. So this is something which is not right now we have to discuss. Okay, so let's talk about pagination, how we are going to use that. So pagination is basically, let's suppose we have, I'm just creating a I'm just creating a temporary table and I'm inserting some 50,000 records there. Okay, I'm just creating this particular dummy country and I'm insert into this particular dummy country table, and I'm just selecting data. Select from countries and the take country name. Okay, and inserting it, and I'm writing it as go 100. Basically what it does, it works like a loop. It will recursively insert this particular country into this dummy country's name 100 times. Okay, I'm just keeping it as 1000 times. So here you can see it is still executing, means it is every time 10,000 time it will insert. Well, what happens? Location accord dummy countries. Okay, let's check the data here. Select star from dummy countries. Don't want to do any manipulation in my actual data, that is why I'm creating a. So let's suppose there are 25 records and I just want to, let's suppose these are not 25, these are 2500 records, and I just want to select 5 records each a time. Okay, so how we can do that? So in SQL engine there is a method we can use it, that select star from dummy countries C to V order by ID and offset. So offset is basically what it is doing, what I need to leave, like what records I need to offset. Let me explain you later on. Offset 0 and fetch next 5. Okay, okay. If I run it, you could see that it is only fetching 5 records. Okay. Now, if I change it to, Control C, if I change it to 5 and then next will be 10. So what it will do, it will select the data from 5 and it will fetch next 10 records. So basically I am fetching next 10 record means it will leave first 5 records and it will fetch next 10 records. Okay, so this is how we do pagination. So in SPs there is very let's create an SP implemented with pagination. Okay, create proc sp underscore country name cell. Okay, as, and I'm taking two different arguments. So for first argument I'm taking for this particular offset and the other argument I'm taking it for fetch next. Okay, so I'm just using this particular query itself, and what I'm doing, I'm just selecting everything, and instead of this particular 5, what I'm doing, I'm just writing @ offset and @fetch next. Okay, so I have made this particular query also little dynamic. So what it is doing, so I am fetching the chunk of data, and that chunk of data will be decided using this particular SP. Okay, so if I execute it, you could see that is being executed, and if I execute this particular SP, so I have to give two different. So I want to offset 10 records and fetch next 5 records. Okay, if I give like this, you could see that it is leaving first 10 records and only fetching the next 5 records. So this is how, guys, we do pagination in SQL. In next class we will so any questions so far? Mrunali, Anjali, Shravan. Yes, yes, please. Mrunali. Okay. So guys, right now, so okay. So okay. So today we will discuss this much only. The next class we will discuss about Windows function. This is a very important class. Please do not miss Windows function. We will check end-to-end Windows function, and we will solve at least 30, at least 15 product-based questions. And this will be a concept making based questions using Windows function. So please revise everything, joins, left out to join, everything, pagination, declaring a variable, setting a data, and what are dynamic variables. Please revise everything, and next week we will talk about this window function deeply, and we will also get some confidence that we can start solving questions on Windows functions as well. Okay, and this particular Windows function will give you, like, move you up to a second level. So please do not miss that class next week. That's it from my side, guys, for this. We will, any questions we can discuss, or else we could talk